Hey everybody, welcome to Hockey Skate Down. Before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. If you want to join our hockey team, it's free. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell to all. Thank you all so much, and let's get started. So, the Jakob Markstrom rumors have died down a bit, but there was a bit of news that came out this week that I wanted to do a video on. The recent asking price was determined for rumored to be determined about what it would cost to acquire a Jakob Markstrom, and there's 3 teams now that are in pursuit of trying to get Jakob Markstrom. So let's talk about that in this video. So Bruce Garrick, he was talking about what it might cost the Ottawa Senators to acquire Jakob Markstrom, and he said the price tag is high. He said the Calgary Flames are looking for a package that would include a first-round pick and a high-end prospect for Jakob Markstrom. Now, if you're Craig Conroy, of course you're trying to ask for everything you possibly can for Jakob Markstrom, but is he going to get that? I don't know. Jakob Markstrom is 34 years old. There is question marks about how is he going to be coming into a new team. Can his body hold up? Because the goaltending position is a daunting one. When it comes to you getting older, it's a lot on your hips, a lot on your knees, it's a lot on your legs. And that's a situation that the Devils are familiar with. They tried to sign Corey Crawford, who had injury history. That didn't work out. They tried to sign Jonathan Bernier. That didn't work out. So that's where a lot of teams are probably trying to hit the pause button, see what other options that they could evaluate. Maybe make a trade with another team for a goaltender, or just wait to see what they can just sign up in free agency. So Elliotte Friedman did come out and say that there's 3 teams that are in the mix. The Devils are at the top of the list, and then you have the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators, you've been hearing a lot of rumors about Brady Tkachuk possibly wanting to ask out, and they're trying to upgrade in net to try to help their team be a better team going into this next season. And they have a lot of draft picks. They have a lot of high-end young talent that they can move in a trade. So can a trade work with them and the Calgary Flames? But definitely keep your eye out on the Ottawa Senators in this offseason. The Toronto Maple Leafs. There's a lot of history with Brad Treliving and Jakob Markstrom. He was the ex-GM of the Calgary Flames. He's the one that signed Jakob Markstrom to his last extension, so there is history there. He had him as his number 1 goalie, and I'm sure he would love to bring him into the Toronto Maple Leafs to be their number 1 goalie. Elliotte Friedman even said a Markstrom and a Wall tandem would be a really good one for the Leafs entering this year, and I agree. I think Markstrom and Wall would be a good fit for them for their tandem heading in net this year. But there's also rumors of them looking towards Brossoit in free agency, so that might be a more cost-effective thing for their cap situation. So keep your eye on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they're going to make some big moves this offseason. I'll do a video on them in a couple of videos to come. The New Jersey Devils. A lot of media is saying that the Devils are at the top of the list to acquire Jakob Markstrom, just based on what happened into last trade deadline. There was a trade that was close between these 2 teams, and it was nixed. Jakob Markstrom was asked to waive his no trade to come to New Jersey. He agreed and wanted to come, and didn't like the way everything was handled, where the trade just fell through. He didn't like how everything was handled from the Flames organization, and he was very open to the media about not being happy about his situation there. So, even with Craig Conroy recently saying maybe we'll just head into this season with Markstrom, it's going to take a lot of convincing to keep him there, to be their netminder this year. So I think that's just a ploy to try to get teams to up their ante, and I don't think that's going to work. But, because it was very apparent that he was not happy with the situation there. So, there was a lot of talk this year about, not this year, but this past week, about what it might cost. A lot of, Flames media, Flames fans were talking about what the Devils might have to give up for Markstrom. And a lot of them were saying maybe the Devils should throw more to make this trade go through. Maybe it's just going to be a 10th overall pick from Markstrom with retained salary. That would get it done. Okay, I'm just going to pose a question. The Calgary Flames have situations where they want to upgrade their roster heading into this next season. They want to get better forwards. They want to get better defense. Would you trade your 9th overall pick, your 9th overall first-round pick, for a 34-year-old player to help out in any of those positions? I don't think so. So that's what I think a lot of the back and forth is. I don't think the Devils want to give up a 10th overall pick for a 34-year-old netminder, being that they went through this situation before. We've tried to sign Corey Crawford. We tried with Jonathan Bernier. These Band-Aids didn't work over the past couple of seasons, and we need a legitimate number 1 heading into this offseason. And to give up a 10th overall pick who is a very young, promising player, possibly for years to come, is something that should be, thought about. Because if it goes bad, it's going to be on Tom Fitzgerald, and it's possibly could cost him his job. I know he just re-signed, but that's a bad situation to give up a young, promising player for an aging goaltender to help out for these 2 years. So I don't get it. I don't get the asking price. I especially that it's a first and a high end prospect. So being with all the rumors that went around, do the Flames fans expect us to give up a first round pick, a 10th overall, and Holtz for Markstrom? No, it's not going to happen. I think this is going to be part of a bigger trade. There is a lot of players on the Calgary Flames roster that can help out the Devils. I just don't know which way they're going to go. With thinking about these two teams, looking at the Flames side, Yegor Sharangovich had a really good year. He scored 30 goals. Not saying that the Devils would look to bring him back, but he's a player that is young. The Flames don't know what they want to do with him going forward. Is he a player that can shift to center, maybe play center for the team, help them out down the middle? Can he replicate a 30-goal year and be one of those players to build around when their core starts to come in and their young core starts to come in? I don't know. There's question marks in regards to that. Blake Coleman is another player that the Devils fans would love to see, but how do they make the cap situation work if it's Coleman and Markstrom going to the Devils? I don't see it being that way because the cap hit is extremely high. But, Devils fans would welcome Blake Coleman back with open arms. He had a really good year last year, production-wise, and, they would love him. He's a great player, fan favorite, but I just don't see him being added. Mangiapane is a player that a lot of teams are inquiring about. He had a bad year last year, but he's been a consistent kind of 40 to 50-point guy, and he could look good in the Devils' second or third line, so maybe he would be a fit. You have Kuzmenko, who's a player where they don't know what they want to do going forward with him. A player that I love on the Calgary Flames, and I've watched a lot of Flames videos this year, Flames games this year. I love Pospisil. I really do. I think he's a player that, he hits. Looking at the players in their hit chart, he's always at the top of that. He's a physical player. He's an agitating player. I know his points production isn't there, but I think as he gets more evolved around the NHL game, the pro game, I think his production will go up. And recently I was watching a video on Pospisil where Mackenzie Weegar was talking about him, and he says in practice, Pospisil was a player that, he wouldn't take lightly in practice. He would go out and really give it his all and really follow through with the hits. And Mackenzie Weegar was like, slow down. I don't want to get injured, before a game. So it became a thing where it elevated Weegar's game because of the way Pospisil was playing in practice, where he had to be on the lookout for him. And, when you have players giving their all, even in practice, it can resonate down the lineup in your team. And that's where I think the Flames got better as the year went on. Not saying Pospisil was the main reason, but to have one of those aspects installed in your locker room, I think helped out with a lot of players in their team. So that's an element that I would love to see added to the Devils. I think the Devils need a player like this, an agitating player who loves to hit and play physical. They need that more in their lineup, and Pospisil is a player that played up and down the Flames lineup. So if he's included in this deal, I would absolutely love it, but I'm sure a lot of Flames fans are pissed off at me for even mentioning his name, but, just to show my admiration for him. I love him as a player. I don't know what it's going to come down to. I don't know what it would cost to get a Markstrom to the Devils deal done. I think it's going to be more moving factors if the 10th overall pick is involved for this year's draft, or maybe it's a first-round pick next year where the Devils have, a better year where it's a later-round pick, where it's still a first-round pick. But even if it involves Alexander Holtz, Holtz is a player that I think a lot of Flame fans don't know about. So if he's included in this deal, just to give a little background on him, he's not a player who's panned out the way he should have. He was a 7th overall pick in the first round. So you're expecting more out of those lower drafted players. But, with him, he scored almost 20 goals this year playing on a fourth line with averaging 7 or 8 minutes. So if he goes to an organization where he has a change of scenery, he has maybe, maybe a different mental attitude going towards the game, maybe it can be a Sharangovich situation where he pots more goals than he did for us this year, playing more minutes, playing on, specialty teams, and stuff like that. Alexander Holtz, I think, has a knack for scoring. We've seen it this year. He's got a hell of a shot, but he has to round out his game. So maybe if he's included in this deal somehow, if there's more stuff coming from the Flames, it could be something to look forward to, because I think he's going to be a promising player down the line. Just has to find his way in the NHL. So comment below. What do you think about this? What do you think of my cost for a trade for the Devils and the Calgary Flames to get Jakob Markstrom done? Or do you think a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators couldn't pull it off? So comment below. Let me know. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate your time. Smash that like button if you haven't done so, and subscribe to the Hockey Skate Down. It's free. And join our hockey team. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great night. Take it easy. Stay safe.